Hey, good morning, everyone. You are with Tom from Ludicrous Feed. Thank you so much for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning, Saturday, 21st of October, 2023 here in Sydney. Beautiful blue sky outside. It is 8:04 and looking forward to chatting with all of you this morning about EVs and renewable energy. Let's say good morning to our regular guest, of course, Riz from Carloop. Hey, Riz, how are you this morning?
Yeah, Tom, going well. So excited to be here. There's so much going on. It's buzzing. We've had the Tesla's earnings call. We know a bit more about Cybertruck, the new products, and there's been a bit of a sneak peek which was brought to our attention from the one and only, the mayor of Nashville, the king of the gong, Nash himself, around the new Model 3 that's coming out.
Yeah, that's right. The new Model 3, I don't know, Plaid, Ludicrous, whatever you want to call it, the performance Model 3 refresh. That's, I think someone in the US released some sort of leaked parts of. So, yeah, looking forward to chatting about that. But before we get into it, I just wanted to acknowledge our sponsors this morning, as always, Carloop, Wallbox, and Evee for sponsoring our live streams. So make sure you check them out in the video description. I've got some coupon codes for Wallbox and Evee. So, yeah, snag yourself a good deal from Ludicrous Feed. Let's say good morning, Riz, to some of our viewers. We've got Tassie EV1 saying good morning from Wet Tassie this morning. And Tassie Thalasign saying good morning. And here on the South Island, sipping my coffee in anticipation of the upcoming stream. Woohoo! On my laptop, not because of the rain. And Scott's watching from Lake Macquarie. Hey, Scott, nice of you to join us this morning. And Rob and Jules need some extra coffee this morning. Yes, I've got some video from Rob and Jules, which they shared from the BYD opening in Brisbane earlier this week. So thanks for that. We'll have a look at that very shortly. Thanks, Billy. Yes, hit that like upon entry. Yes, it's not a condition of entry, but it'd be nice of you to put that link. Oh, hit that like button as you come into the stream. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching us live, thank you so much. Make sure you leave a comment like these people are. If you're watching us on replay, hello as well. Leave a comment below. And if you're listening to us on audio podcast, welcome. I've got JD Media from the Surf Beach, Torquay in Victoria. That's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Riz, Torquay?
Yeah,
Yep.
Toki.
Good, thanks. Looks like the MotoGP has been moved from Sunday to today due to storms. Okay, cool.
Ooh.
Mark's from Melbourne. Hello. Hey, Gaffer from Nashville. Hello there. And Abby's from Melbourne West. Okay. And Jay's been targeted with anti-EV and anti-renewable energy sentiments this morning. Okay, well, I don't see how that's different
Oh.
from any other day, but yeah, okay, must be extra spicy this morning. We'll get into that very shortly. And yeah, Scott's saying it's our job, actually. It is our duty to fact check these and just debunk them and, yeah, sort out the truth from the myths. I'm awake, Dazzy, don't worry, I'm here. And yeah, finished doing my hair and makeup, all good. And yeah, hello, Kevin, as always. Riz, Kevin's always joining us from Florida. Nice one.
He is on all, both our weekly streams. So
Yeah,
yeah, thanks for the commitment, Kevin. And yeah, good to hear that you're doing well.
absolutely. And John wants your autograph, Riz. Hollywood Riz. He's famous, he
Uh
really is.
Look, it's you know what it's like. I'll be sending him out in the coming weeks. To all the fans of Ludicrous Feed.
That's right. And yeah, and we've got Praneeth from Adelaide. Hello there. And we've got Kenneth saying, "Hi guys, was waiting for new Model 3, changed mind rapidly this week." Okay, you're not
Oh,
alone, Kenneth, I think. Bought the BYD Seal Performance. Yeah, changed to white on black after $50 discount. So eligible for the New South Wales rebate. Absolute bargain. So if you guys don't know, BYD just very quietly dropped their performance price by $50, which means that it's actually under the New South Wales threshold. So you get a $3,000 rebate if you order before the 1st of January 2024. So it's a pretty good deal, Riz, for a car that can go from 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds for under $68,000 or under $69,000.
oh, it's a lot of car for the money, and also just seeing it in person, how premium it is. I think it's going to be a lot of people will be very happy with it once they get it. And it's been a segment in the market. Not everyone can pay 100 odd thousand dollars for the Model 3 Performance, or it's in upper 90,000s now. So this car offering that with subsidies in states like New South Wales is it's a bargain. So make the most of it. I've heard people that have swapped their BYD Dolphins for a base model BYD Seal. So they really have shaken the market. It'd be really interesting to see how the coming months turn out and how many they can get into the country and what the breakdown is performance versus your standard range dynamic.
Yeah, I mean the BYD Seal is coming at 49,888, which is actually cheaper than the Atto 3 extended range. I know the different
Yeah.
cars, but gosh, the pricing is simply amazing, really. So yeah, and Scott says, Riz, you and Danny did a great job on the BYD Seal launch on
Oh, thanks, Scott.
Tuesday last week. So well done. Kenny's joining us. Great to have these Saturday morning streams. Yeah, I'd love to be with you guys. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And we've got Stephen from New Beith in Queensland. Also, Hermanto thinking of a performance BYD as well. So, not sure about build quality and resale value. Well, there's one megastore in Sydney and Brisbane now. So, I don't know. Get round to one of them before 1st of January 2024. If you're in New South Wales, then you can possibly get a rebate too.
And in terms of just quickly on the build quality, I know performance is still nearly 70 grand for most people, but getting something like that, like a even a dynamic for most people, getting into an EV, it offers a lot of tech. Like BYD's, it's not Tesla level in terms of technology, but when it comes to the infotainment and the in-car experience, it's generally pretty good. So it's big step up on most other ICE brands that are out there. So worth a test drive at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely. And and also I should say too that BYD Seal's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so it goes a long way to bridge that gap between the Tesla infotainment system, which is of course in-house. The one thing that BYD Seal doesn't have is trip planning or route planning for EVs. That's probably one thing I do regret not having. But if you don't drive long distance, it doesn't matter too much. Hopefully, one day there'll be a software update to enable that. We'll see.
Tom, just a quick one on that. Do you think that there a better route planner is that available? Like, does that involve trip planning for vehicles? Like let's say I've got one on my if I have one on my mobile phone, do I need to put in my initial sort of range or where I start off, and then it works out where you'll end up? Is that how it
Yeah,
works in your
yeah,
experience?
that's right. That's how it works. So you can have a bitterrooteplanner.com on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It doesn't have battery management planning. Of course, it's not plugged into your car. But as you said, Riz, you can set the custom values for your vehicle to start with, and then you can always alter it along the way as well. So it's kind of a manual trip planning, not as good as Tesla, where it's automatic, of course, but there are ways around it if you really need it. So and premium subscription allows that in the car, which is I think pretty cheap. It's like €5 or something like that per month. So worth having, I think. Okay, cool guys. And 69 viewers. How timely at 8:12 a.m. 9 minutes into the stream. So yeah, keep those comments coming, everyone. And let's talk about EVs. So Riz, let's kick off with a story now. Which one would you want to start with this morning? Do you think?
I think we touched on the Model 3 Ludicrous or Performance or whatever it will be called, which was missed as part of the Highland refresh announcements in September. And now Tesla's released their service manual. And I think there's a parts list in there as well that you can look at. And as part of that, the Kilowatts guy based in San Francisco has picked up some of these details, which, the mayor of Nashville, Nash himself, in the Gong has shared with everybody. And, we know Nash is a performance vehicle sort of a fan. And yeah, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, Nash is definitely an avid performance fan through and through. And this was actually reshared. Well, the Kilowatts post was reshared by Nash, as you said, Riz. Let's have a look at the Kilowatts. And this is the parts catalog that Tesla's been working on for the performance version. And you can see there that sort of plaid logo, I guess, down here with the dual motor. So signifying it potentially could be a, called plaid, whether it is a 3-motor vehicle, it's yet to be seen, of course. I read this morning it could potentially even be called Ludicrous. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Ludicrous, which was the first sort of launch kind of thing that Tesla had back in the day for Model S. So yeah, exciting stuff. And also there's the part catalog here. Let's have a look. So we've got rear sill plate, right hand, badge, dual motor, satin chrome, and then so the wheel parts as well. Yeah, very interesting.
What do you think about I think it's number 1. They're the wheels that they're thinking. I'm not sure what they're called, but that looks pretty cool. Like, I I don't know how aerodynamic they are, but it, it's sort of seems a curved, slightly like angled versions of the wheels that you had on your previous performance Model 3, sort of slightly twisted
Yeah,
in
yeah.
those.
I
But hmm,
I think yeah, I think the dark looking ones look better than the light ones for
yeah,
sure. I don't mind what they look like as long as they. I know in the past with the performance alloys, and they still do it. They're not asymmetrical, so
hmm,
you've got the wind pushing correctly on the one side, but the other side it's not right. It's still they're all symmetrical shapes, so you're actually counterproductive with aerodynamic
yeah,
with the wind movement. So as long as it's asymmetrical, as long as the blades are facing the one way forward, then I think it'll be fine. It's a nice looking wheel, and I like how it's a bit twisted and slanted, as you said, Riz, to feel like it's sort of moving forward rather than
yeah.
stationary. So yeah, that's cool. I like it. So yeah, I mean, what do you think, Riz? Is there room for 3 motors in the Model 3 Performance?
I don't think they would have 3 motors. What they would have is maybe beefed up rear motor. The front, I think, is just going to be the way it is. I'm not sure. Like, I'm the sort of person that likes sort of subtle cars. So I quite like the fact that previously Tesla's done dual motor, and to highlight that's a performance, there's a little red underline underneath it. And on a red car like the one that you've seen, it sort of blends in. Um, I might do what BYD owners do if I ever do buy these vehicles, is debadge that ludicrous badge and keep it as a memento, um, because you don't want everybody to know what it is. It's a bit of a sleeper, and I mean that's completely opposite to the guys that buy single motor cars and then put
Yeah,
dual motor and performance on them, and then
Riz, you're
so
you're, you're down badging, not up badging.
I'm
Going the other
down
way.
matching, you know what I'm saying? Like, but no, I think either way, it's exciting news. I think the specs would be quite interesting to see. Um, just on the Model 3 Highland, I think the first batch has arrived in Europe now.
Mm,
So customer deliveries are expected sort of next week. And it's the same in China. They're trying to time it before the end of October.
Yeah, cool. And I can see that in other markets like Malaysia, I think are starting to display the Highland in like shopping centers and things like that. So hopefully, it won't be too long before we've got a showroom car to display here in Australia in our
I
Sydney,
had
Melbourne,
my
Brisbane showrooms.
Exactly. I had my runners on this morning. I thought I'll get the initial scoop. I went to Mulgrave around the corner from here, and in the showroom, they still had the old cars. I even did a drive around the back to have a look if there's any around, but no, nothing for our audience just yet. But you'll be one of the first people to know.
Oh, good, good. And we're still looking for that shoe sponsor for Riz. So anyone from
Yeah.
Adidas or Nike, yeah, drop a comment below.
Or
Love to hear
like
from
I
you.
said on our Wednesday night stream, Tim Cahill, if you've got any spare used boots that you're no longer using on the field, on the pitch, please send them through.
Let's take some comments from the audience. So, Han saying current dilemma Model 3 or BYD Seal. Check out my comparison today. I released it last night, just on paper. But yeah, obviously, no one's driven either car just yet. And Matthew's saying price point on BYD Seal is very aggressive. Keen to see what it does to the Model 3. Yeah, I agree, Riz. It'd be good to see sales figures moving forward. I don't think it'll top Model 3, but I think it'll certainly give it a run for its
Mm,
money moving forward. Scott says the BYD in-car experience is really good. Yeah, I mean, it's not too
yeah,
bad in the Auto 3,
yes.
especially with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And all right, Kushik is going to be just test driving the Dolphin Premium in a few hours. Yeah, let us know how it
Ooh.
goes on Wednesday or next Saturday. Cool. Seems like a bit of stock around in Model 3. Yeah, there is. Inventory stock has gone up and prices have gone down for Model 3 too. So looks like a good deal for now if you don't want to stalk.
I think nearly for a base Model 3 now, it would be 57,000 in states like New South Wales
Wow.
to buy it at the moment, and that's like it's the cheapest it's ever been, and it's a lot of car. The Seal's a lot of car as well, but I think for what you get in a Model 3 today, if you don't want to waste a couple of months, keep an eye out on Tesla's inventory page.
Yeah, and from a selfish point of view, I'm happy I sold my car because prices have dropped a bit too. Speaking of selling cars, let's just quickly put out this sponsored link from one of our viewers who is selling a Kia EV6 GT line MY 2023, a beautiful looking vehicle, of course. I have driven a EV6 in the past a few times, and I'll just show you some photos here. So it's in red. It is starting at 86,818, but for Ludicrous Feed viewers, if you mention either Tom, myself, or Riz, or Ludicrous Feed, then you'll get $5,000 off the asking price straight away. So go and check this out. I'll leave a link in the video description below as always. This is the Kia EV6 GT line, sponsored listing by one of our viewers. So check that out in good time. Thanks very much. Okay, let's move on with the rest of today's news. So, Riz, I just wanted to quickly just show this one as well. This was actually posted on X by Rob from Sid EV, and he was just very impressed with a Sydney bus. And I've seen a few of these electric buses roaming around Sydney. They're just awesome, honestly. You're sitting around or even walking on the street, and you see one of these pass you. And I'll just put the audio up. Just start again. How cool is that? Like, it's not silent, but it's just an electric hum rather than a diesel rattling past you.
Just what we need, particularly now that we know that some of the larger bus fleets emit so much emissions, and for most people, this could be a good way of experiencing electric vehicles. Right, like buses, it's very affordable to get a ticket and you'd be pleasantly surprised. A lot of them are BYD underpinnings, from what I understand. I'm not sure about that particular model, but BYD seems to be a pretty big player in that. I had my first accidental ride in one when I saw one of them pull over in Melbourne CBD, and as I came out of a building, and I chased it down and took a 2-stop ride. And it was just fascinating, just so smooth. And then where I got off, there were 2 diesel buses in the same bus stop behind me, and behind that electric bus, and it was just chalk and cheese.
Yeah, I mean, even I don't think I've actually sat in one yet, but having sat in many diesel buses, like, it's so uncomfortable. If you ever get a wheel seat, right, it just rattles every time. And it's just not comfortable. So having an electric bus is good for everyone, good for everyone's health, good for kids' health. I've seen these buses as school buses as well. So, I wouldn't mind having my kids in an electric bus rather than a diesel bus. So, yeah, good work. Let's take some more comments from the audience. We've got, what do we got? Gabby's saying, planning to buy a second EV to replace my second ICE car, but not in a rush. Hopefully more options in coming months. It would be a savings on maintenance over petrol. Yep, correct. Stephen's going to the BYD Brisbane store on Monday to see the Seal. Fantastic. Why don't we segue into that? We've got some footage here from Robert and Julie, who was very kind to let me share this. So let me put this up for you, everyone. So this was taken from the BYD Megastore launch in Brisbane from Robert Jules, who's in the stream right now. I can see. There we go. I'll show you some video there. BYD always throw the best parties. I look very neck and neck with MG, I got to say. But it's a great party. Everyone's having a good time, drinks, food. It looks like a pretty good place, Riz. Very similar, sort of in styling to the Sydney store we went to.
Yeah, it is, and just for our viewers' interest, they're supposed to be. Well, they were calling it a mega store in the beginning, but then they've changed it and they're calling it flagship stores now. So I think Alexandria and Sydney will remain the mega store, where they're calling it more of a flagship store. To me, it looks as good as a mega store. It's fantastic. They've got everything there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's in the same vein that you can just sit down in the cars. No one's going to hassle you too much. And if you want to ask questions, you're going to ask questions. Yeah, so there's just no pressure. I think that's the way forward with direct to consumer models. So well done, BYD. And let's see, there's some more pictures too. So there's is that Jules, Rob? I assume it would be. Looking very happy in the vehicle. That's the Dolphin. There it is there in the car park. Oh, sorry. I'll just reduce the volume a bit, sorry. Otherwise I'll get a copyright infringement. There you go. That's the Seal right there in black. Beautiful looking vehicle, Riz. Are you in the stream from BYD? You said it was, or something like it was as good as the Mercedes. You still stand by that?
I do. I think Mercedes, what you get in a Mercedes these days, particularly the electric models. If you're comparing electric for electric, the Seal is in my opinion, a much better car than a Mercedes EQE. And that's 150 odd grand versus top range Seal might be 75 grand with all on-road costs, even in states that don't get any incentives. I guess Rob and Jules were there. They had a look at it. I think they're allowing people to sit in the car. I think it's pretty much there. And yeah, just everything about that car. It's much better in person.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've got to agree with you. I just sat briefly in the EQE with you, Riz, when I was in Melbourne a few weeks ago. And I only had a brief look at the Seal at the Sydney launch, and it's controversial, but gosh, the quality is very good in the Seal. There's just so much detail, so much refinement to it, and the EQE, I don't know, it's always a bit disappointing. Like, for the money you pay, a lot of the parts are still very plastic looking. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with these luxury brands. They've got to up their game a little bit if they want to go all electric.
From what I'm hearing in Europe, it's it's not looking good for a lot of them. And they're losing big time in markets like China, which they made huge inroads on previously with their ICE vehicles. And they're not only making them in China, but they were also importing them into the country. And imports into China are at an all-time low, while Chinese exports for electric vehicles are at an all-time high. So even Chinese consumers now get it. That's why they're buying BYDs and Neos and other brands over choosing, if we had options for a Neo versus that's ground up electric, that's just really well made, people would potentially consider that. But yeah, I guess it's 75 grand versus 150 grand for a product that's far inferior to the Seal, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, our good friend Darren Young from Singapore, I think currently is in Shanghai looking at a few EVs. I think Neo is one of them. So we might have to get him back to get his thoughts on the Neo. Yeah, great to see his content on Insta and YouTube and X as well. So yeah, check out Darren's work. So Riz, someone's saying that, Scott's saying, yes, Riz is saying that BYD Seal is on par with Mercedes, and someone's saying they're going to put that quote on your headstone, Riz. I'm glad you're standing by it.
Look, you've got it. As long as it's not in Germany, I'm happy.
No, it's good. I think what I recommend is go into the BYD showroom, have a look at it for yourself. It's definitely worth checking out.
And the caveat there is none of us have driven the Seal yet.
Yeah, correct.
But with all accounts, we have had a chance to drive the EQE, and I'm waiting. I was a diehard BMW 5 Series fan growing up. I'm waiting for the i5 to come, which is based on an ICE platform once again. It's $100 and something thousand, but if someone can sort of hold that would be BMW. So that's coming out, I think, before Christmas. So we'll stay tuned for that one.
Okay. Who's got that kind of cash? That's a lot of money. 150 grand.
Times are tough.
Times are tough. Come on. Seriously. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, Gaffer's saying if nothing else, back on the EV bus, you have to love an EV bus if you enjoy eating out. Yeah, if you like what's called alfresco dining outside in the nice weather. I hate the smell and noise when trying to enjoy a sidewalk meal or a coffee on the side. Yeah, it's awful. But EV buses, yeah, so good. And we've got people saying it's like a Jetson style vehicle, hovercraft. Yeah, Scott saying no brainer for the cities, short trips, large populations, keep the air fresh. That's the thing. People keep talking about, EVs potentially may not be as good for the environment, because you're mining rare earths. But come on, just in the short, looking just inside your own ecosystem, like how much better is it for our lungs in our cities with with fresh air and not diesel polluting the local atmosphere. So that's one thing got to consider, particularly your children as well. So. That's right. Robin Jules saying it's sounds like a spaceship. Love it. And 0 tailpipes in the city. Cool. Awesome. Good morning, Robert. Sorry, Robert. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for joining us. And Tassie's got a good point. Vancouver in Canada has had electric trolley buses for a long time. Yep. I've traveled to Canada a few times, and yes, they do sound very good. It was so weird when the bus stopped and no engine noise. Yeah, that's right. But they are, of course, on electric tracks, and the cables are above as well. Scott saying, I always thought the Kia should have electrified the Stinger is. Now BYD have gone and done it for them. Scott's right. It kind of does look like an electric Stinger, the Seal.
That's spot on, Scott. That's exactly what I thought. So,
Mm.
for those that are interested, the Kia Stinger GT was a quick V6 3.8 liter vehicle that is a large sedan, like a Model S. Kia is no longer making them anymore. Um, Kia may think about a sedan. They've released the Kia EV4 concept, which I think will be a smaller sedan. But imagine a Kia EV8 or something like that, based on the eGMP platform. But I think what BYD has, from all accounts, it really is a sporty large sedan, which is what the Stinger was.
Yeah.
So just and it looks good in person as well. The Stinger GT was used by a lot of the police forces across the country as well at one stage, when the Holden Commodores were being phased out,
Yeah.
as highway patrol cars. But yeah, that's what we have. Imagine that. Imagine a future where you've got the likes of BYD Seals as the police cars,
Well,
or
you never.
Model 3 performances.
Oh, exactly. You never know, right? I mean, an affordable car that can go 0 to 103.8 and catch the bad guys pretty quickly. So I'm sure Luke Todd and his team will be very happy to speak to New South Wales Police and Victoria Police about this. Probably more engaging than some of the Tesla folk getting
Oh,
their cars into the force. So yeah, we'll see. Hey, you never know. There's the Seal there in Brisbane again. This is shared by one of our other viewers, JD Media, I think. Sorry, JD Solar and EV. So thanks very much. Cool. And I just want to make a quick correction. Thank you, Tassie. I meant to say, yes, the buses aren't on tracks. They're just aerial connections up the top. So thank you very much. And he's also saying police spec BYD Seal performance and look out bad guys. Yep, 100%. Cool. Gaffer saying, speaking about police cars, did you see the post on X around the Cybertruck with all the bullets dents down the side? Oh, okay.
we can transition into that, Tom. That's
Okay.
just been announced, where there is a Cybertruck with potentially bullet holes. Oh well, someone's trying to shoot into it. I'll try and get that link
Yeah,
up.
I shouldn't laugh because this is a serious matter in the
It
US,
is.
obviously with gun violence. So there you go. It can handle bullet holes on the side there. Look at that. Pretty scary.
So obviously it's doing some sort of testing, and yeah, just looks like it's been off-roading and a whole lot of other things. Maybe it was on a movie set of some sort.
Oh,
Uh,
Mad Max 10.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's insane, right? I mean, I just cannot imagine living in a world where I've got to worry about this too much. But obviously, this is a concern in the US and other parts of the world at the moment. So, this is basically, for all intents and purposes, a stainless steel armored vehicle that can withstand bullet holes. So, if that was a concern for me, I'd be buying one of these quick smart.
Yeah, it seems to be, one of those. The testing they're doing is pretty rigorous. Now we know that the Cybertruck the first delivery event will be on the 30th of November. So that was sort of confirmed at the earnings call. Not sure whether it be employees or someone else getting him, but yeah, should be quite interesting to see the ruggedness of this truck on the road. Speaking of which, it looks like some of the specs have been released, or high-level specs out of the US, with their safety, and I think their regulation body. Very interesting to get some details.
Yeah, so I think you're referring to this X by
Yeah.
Sawyer. Here we go. So document states there are two Cybertruck variants, dual motor standard and triple motor as well for Cybertruck. Let's have a look. So they're the weights there. What can we decipher from this?
So dual motor. Oh, that's for the semi. So Cybertruck dual motor standard, and then triple motor.
Oh, down here?
Yeah, in that image, yep, right there. It's a triple motor performance.
Mhm.
2024. So I guess that's the year build that they're aiming for.
Mm.
Um, in the plant of manufacturer, Digit 11, Reno, Nevada, I think it's, yeah, that would
Nevada.
be
Yep.
for the semi, and Austin, Texas for the Cybertruck.
Mm.
Dual cab, and I guess for Digit 5, dual cab, that would be, I'd say, for the Cybertruck.
Mm.
And oh, interesting. Yep. Anyway, early details, which is still good to see.
Mm. Yeah, so no, sorry, November 30th for the Cybertruck release from Austin. So
Yeah.
good. We should probably talk a bit about the earnings call too. Is bit pessimistic from Elon Musk about earnings.
Yeah, from all accounts, I guess he was trying to manage expectations for investors. They still have over $20 billion of cash, and it seems that they are looking at maybe not going full steam ahead with their factory in Mexico and just pausing and seeing what they can do at Austin, which happens to be, I think, the largest manufacturing plant or automobile manufacturing plant in the world. And they have a lot of land there and they have talent. So they have, engineers and others that want to work at Tesla. I want to work at a cutting edge facility like the Texas factory where they're going to be building the Cybertruck and they build the Model Ys there. Um, it's hard to relocate them to Mexico to do a trial production run of the Model 2 or the mass market car. So they might set up a factory. They might partition some part of the factory or build new buildings to do that trial production run and maybe produce them out of there until they feel economic conditions are right for them to expand. So, because you need engineers on the ground when you're doing the first sort of trial production run on these things and make changes and iterations accordingly and perfect your different manufacturing methods. And Model 2 is going to be a revolutionary car from the way it's built to get it to those cost levels as they sort of spoke about at one of the earlier events this year.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, Elon's quite concerned about cost of things and people's appetite to buy their vehicles. I think he made an analogy. He said, if our cars cost the same as a Toyota RAV4, nobody would buy the Toyota RAV4.
Mm.
So he said we were working towards getting it to that way. But all in all, Cybertruck is happening. No mention of the semis, but we're seeing more and more of them on the road, and they're using it in a lot of their imagery. So the image they shared in their investor deck showcased three Cybertrucks on a trailer being sort of hauled by a Tesla semi.
Mm.
So there's more manufacturing of that, and the economic times are going to improve. But at this stage, they are sort of a bit, concerned with what the world economic stability looks like. So interesting times, but they continue to release new models, so people will find a way to purchase them, and it's all heading towards electrification now anyway. So
Mm.
next quarter should be better because this last quarter had downtime in factories due to upgrades for Model 3 Highland and for Cybertruck production as well. And I think the Model Y Juniper or whatever is being the next generation looks like. So next quarter will be a lot better, which is
Yeah,
disappointing.
there's a lot going on, Riz, for sure, and it's good to see some fiscal sensibilities coming out of it too. You can't always be splashing money around, and you still got to look after shareholders, make sure it is profitable and sustainable as well long term. So, yeah, no, it's good to see sensible Elon coming through as well, keeping Tesla afloat. I wonder what that means for Cybertruck for overseas markets like Australia if they're managing expectations with Cybertruck production in North America.
Yeah, that's right. I think the fleet of 30 that's supposed to arrive at the port of Wollongong will be, maybe more 2026. But yeah, I think they said that uh, Elon expects mass or what they call volume production to be 5,000 units per week, which is around 250,000 units a year. Um, So even with that, if they reckon they have over 1 million orders on them, that's 4 or 5 years of like full scale production, unless they're planning on making that at a facility that doesn't exist today.
And just back on the Cybertruck, they're such big cars, right? I mean, we've got a Ram in our neighborhood, and I was trying to do a 3-point turn in my tight street, and it's just quite amusing to watch how big they are. So it'd be amusing to see those Cybertrucks running around our narrow streets. I can't imagine them in Europe even, or in the UK, where the streets are even narrower. So interesting times, I think, if the world is heading towards bigger type pickup trucks like that. Yeah,
Maybe
and
they'll have
Scott,
Cyber Light, like a Cyber Light truck.
Cyberlight, baby
Yeah,
Cyber.
yeah, maybe.
Or Model 3, like a Utler or Truckler.
Yeah, truck.
One of the I remember a fan made those kind of made that car out of a Model 3 a few years ago. So interesting. Let's take a quick break and just want to shout out to our sponsors once again: Carloop, Wallbox, and Evee. Check those discount codes in the video description below for Wallbox and Evee. Thank you very much to those three companies for sponsoring our stream as always. Yes, Scott saying tank turn for 3-point turns. Yep, all good. And yeah, all driving, Tom. That's true. Yep, crab turning. Mini Cyber. Yep. And we've got Kenneth saying, when my Seal performance turns up, we'll have 2 EVs with my wife's Atto 3 extended, all powered by the sun. Great work. And Tassie EV1 saying, NYC large trucks, SUVs are not allowed in multi-story car parks. That might come a time in Australia where that might happen, Riz. Not allowed in, tight spaces like that here too. Interesting.
Yeah, it's this has got nothing to do with EVs way more, and they'll bring the car parks down. This is more, I think, just the fact that how large those vehicles actually are. Even some of the drive-throughs around these fast food restaurants,
Oh yeah.
particularly the older ones, you can see some of the older sites. They weren't accommodating for these big utes. Well, small compared to the Cybertruck, but these Ford Rangers and Toyota Hiluxes, they're just large. They become larger and larger over the years, and a lot of them don't do very well. That's why you see a whole lot of curb rashes on those utes, and you see a whole lot of tire marks on those curbs along those drive-throughs. So one day we'll get there. We know where we aren't set up like a proper, even car parks aren't set up to accommodate for that, with heights being a bit of a restriction. I'm not sure what the height of the Cybertruck is at its lowest level, because apparently it's got a bit of travel for its suspension.
Oh yeah. Yeah, interesting. I mean, a lot of tradies, work around the inner city, at least in Sydney anyway, home renovations and things. And those streets in the east are very tight, so
Yeah.
might be fun to watch actually. I'll just share this quickly as well, just to confirm that the Model 3, Model 3 is reduced their pricing. Tesla's reduced their pricing for Model 3 in the inventory section. So we've got Eco Benny sharing this one, and see if you qualify for a $6,000 rebate in Queensland. That's insane value, really. There's no what do you call it, a deadline either for the rebates in Queensland, as far as I know, just yet. Means tested that last $3,000 for household income under $180,000. So yeah, you can get yourself a Model 3 for a very good price at the moment. So probably clearing the stock for Highland Model 3 Riz, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think this would be the last of the builds, because we sort of know that pretty much most of August and September's partially August, but most of September's production has been the new Model 3 Highlands. So, they're not making these old ones anymore. So whatever is left over is basically what's being cleared. It's still tremendous value, like for anyone that's looking at this. So we're talking about nearly a $10,000 saving in some states compared to the new model. So that's wonderful.
It's a huge saving, and get yourself a stalk for very, very good price at the moment, because there won't be a stalk in the new Model 3. Just letting you know. Just wanted to put some comments up here. So Gaffer's agreeing with you, Riz. One of his pet peeves is majority of us don't need to be driving around tanks on the road. So true. I definitely don't need one. I wouldn't mind hiring one every now and then to get stuff from Bunnings or IKEA or whatever, but I don't need one day to day for sure.
So Bunnings and IKEA, if you're listening, you've got to have them as your fleet cars.
Yes, or even for rent out the front, like sometimes Bunnings does, right? Yeah. Tassie's saying even in some cities in Australia, there is small streets as well. Yeah, for sure. Not just
Mm.
Sydney, Melbourne, for sure. Massive vehicles they're bringing in, like the F-150 and Silverado, won't fit, or someone is backing up. So true. And yeah, Scott's thanking us, thanking you, Riz from Carloop, Wallbox and Evee. Well done. And Billy's saying, if you think about the evolution of ICE vehicles, the EV journey has only just begun. I can't imagine where this will end, but it will be exciting for sure. Oh, question from Alan. Good morning, guys. Do you think our Model Y will get a speed upgrade to match the same as the China version Model Y?
Oh,
Okay.
yes. I would say so. But one thing with Australia is we haven't seen any, let's say, new documentation around these new products yet. So I know there isn't a lot of difference when it comes to the old Model 3 and the new Model 3, but there is a performance difference in the new Model Y of what's being sold. So I guess time will tell.
Okay. We'll see. You never know with Tesla. They can just drop a performance upgrade anytime. So stay tuned. We'll keep you guys informed anyway. Is there a reason, question from Tazi Thalisan, is there a reason why the federal government in Australia doesn't offer incentives like other overseas countries do? I mean, there is the FBT discount, but no, there's no sort of blanket discount, is there, or rebate that the federal government is offering? You know, they were going to update their EV policy in a couple of years' time. So you would think, or I would, on my wish list, wish they would have a EV discount, a federal one, that's not means tested. And secondly, obviously, fuel efficiency standards as well to try and encourage more EVs into the country. So that'll be nice. Not everyone's an employee that can access novated leasing at the moment. So it'd be good to have something for everyone else as well. But good point there, Tazzy. Thank you very much. Hamanto says a lot of talk has been made of the Model 3 Highland acoustic glass. Has anyone tested or driven the BYD Seal and advises of quietness and ride quality? No one has driven it on Australian roads yet outside of the BYD team. So hopefully one of us will. I've put my name down for a test drive anyway, from a press car point of view, and also just as a consumer who's ordered one. So fingers crossed it'll happen soon. Yeah, Scott, question for Riz there, or comment for Riz. End of year EV sales should look good for 2023, I would have thought.
Yeah, we're already over 65,000 for the year, last time I checked, which is nearly double what we had last year. So if that's the trajectory, we'll be looking at 80,000. Well, at the very least, I'd say maybe 85,000 EVs by the end of the year. That's phenomenal. That's nearly three folds, which, but I think that's great. And the more models we get, I was in Bendigo earlier last week, and I saw MG4s there. So there were a couple of them in regional towns as well already. So, the more of those we can get out there, and I can see on social media, there's a lot of people picking up the new vehicles. And Dolphins, I think, start very soon as well. Rob and Jules may confirm that. So as there's more affordable vehicles coming in and more people have access to those, I would say 85,000 by the end of the year is plausible.
Yeah, that's great. Amazing, right? Year on year progress. It's so good. Question here from Hal. Comments: BYD Seal clearance appears very low for Australian roads. Speed humps and steep driveways could lead to some air damp rash. I wouldn't say it's super low. I mean, you've got other performance cars that are quite low, and it does help with aerodynamics. Just for clarification, the BYD Seal is 1.8 centimeters lower than the Tesla Model 3. So if you've got a low driveway, just be careful of that, myself included. I can fit my Model S in my driveway, no problem. And I think the longer wheelbase for the BYD Seal compared to Model 3 probably helps as well to get around tight situations like that. Another way around is obviously those speed humps you can buy for your driveway. They can help get over, those gradient changes too. So as Tazzy EV1 says, how do Ferrari, Lambo, etc. drive on the same roads, being them as low or lower than the Seal? I think I would think they would be more careful with those kind of vehicles than the Seal. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, and Robert Jules Riz is saying hopefully next week for Dolphin deliveries. Awesome. And people are saying, yes, we do need a national fuel emissions target for sure, and discounts too. I just wanted to also confirm that you were chatting about this earlier in the stream, but confirm that BYD Seal Performance got a $50 price drop today. That was a few days ago, making it eligible for EV rebates in some states, particularly New South Wales. You can get a performance seal for under that threshold, giving you a $3,000 rebate before 1st of January 2024. So get in there and order if that's what you want. Have a look at this, Riz. This is Richard Laxton posted this.
Yes.
How cool is this? A shade over a EV charging spot on the WA EV charging network. Amazing.
So these are the new sites going around, and Rich is doing a round Australia trip at the moment, starting in Victoria, and he's gone all the way around, basically the long way up, and he will end up in Perth in the coming weeks. And yeah, some of these sites are active, and some of these sites still haven't been officially opened yet, although they're ready. So they've got these canopies in the outback. I think it's wonderful. Like, people can travel long distances now. He's doing it in a 2019 Model 3 Performance there, and yeah, he seems to have had no issues on his journey so far, and spotting cool charging sites like these ones that have just been commissioned. So it's awesome to see that the guys in WA who are working on this network have really thought things through and have heard what people are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for covered EV charging spots. On my road trip in the Polestar down to Melbourne from Sydney and back again, the ones in Barnawartha North were suffering from water ingress. Yeah, which is terrible because we would need these chargers to work. We're going to do road trips, right? So it makes sense to cover them, so protect them from the elements, and to cover you too when you're plugging in and trying to type in and activate these chargers. So, and if they have solar panels over the top, they even better.
Well, that's it, Tom. And yesterday I was in Bendigo for a bit, and I thought I'll quickly pull in and have a look at the Bendigo Central Charger. It's a ChargeFox site. For those that are familiar with Goulburn, it's very similar to that.
Oh no.
In the back of a car park with no shade, 2 chargers out of 4 not working, and there was rubbish on the ground, and like I said, no shade. It was a warmish, morning with sun out. I just don't know how networks can continue to operate that way, and not take any responsibility or ownership of the maintenance of the site, and it's just, yeah, very disappointing. Where meanwhile you have in the outback, they're thinking about these sort of options and doing it properly. So operators like ChargeFox and others, if you're watching, this is the way it should be done.
Yep. And Jasper, we are thinking of you. Waiting for EV chargers in the top end, Northern Territory. Only a few in Darwin
Yeah.
so far. So, yeah, I mean, the more there are in the southern states, it'll start to infiltrate in the top as well. So,
I think EV Networks has plans to do a few more up in Northern Territory, and when this national rollout with NRMA happens, it should really involve in putting more chargers up there.
yeah, I know Richard, my friend from Outback Tesla on socials, has shared a few in Darwin that EV have installed too. So, yeah, it's getting there. Be great to have a proper route from, or the ETC charging route from Adelaide all the way to Darwin. Like that'd be the dream, right? It'd be a great road trip one day. Comment here from where is it? Something about the Ford F-150 Lightning. Here we go. Ray Palmer's asking, what do we see with the Ford recall of the F-150 Lightnings? And Scott says, from Ford 2022 to 23 models, F-150 Lightning Platinum and Lariat model trucks may have microscopic cracks in the outer lens of the rear light bar. So,
Ooh.
okay, so not a huge structural issue, but that's the reason for the recall. Interesting.
For those interested, the F-150 Lightning, they had a production stop maybe last year for a few months from memory, because they had issues with potentially battery fires or battery management, and dealers weren't allowed to sell vehicles for a period of time as well, that they had them on the lot. So until Ford rectified whatever issue they had, I don't know if it was software or hardware or how they did it, but it's not the first time. And now in the US with union strikes, Ford is also curbing production of the standard F-150 and F-150 Lightning. It doesn't do any justice for EV production. And Ford has also, I think last time I checked, paused a multi-billion-dollar EV battery factory that they were building in partnership with CATL, because they're just not sure if they're going to have the workers because of the workforce strikes in the future to work on that. So they're pausing most of their electric programs, which doesn't look good for this transition.
Yeah, that's right. We need these brands to keep pumping out these EVs and to show that they're serious for sure. Oh, Tassie EV1 saying Chuck Tass, which is our good friend Charles Charles Gregory, is currently driving over to Perth in his Model 3 for the National AEVA Expo Conference, which of course is in early November. That'd be a great journey. Riz, Sydney to Perth or Melbourne to Perth.
Well, he is, because I thought I'll check PlugShare for the new Tesla charger in Bendigo. And yeah, I saw his last check-in was from him, and that was on like Thursday or something. And I was like, where is he heading? Because I know he mentioned on our stream a couple of weeks ago that he was going to be traveling somewhere. So I think he was in, he was in regional Victoria 2 days ago.
I reckon we'll need to get him on the stream once he makes his way across to Perth and get his experience. Yeah. So stay tuned, everyone. Kenneth asking about the Seal charge point, how to line up with a Tesla charger. Great question. It is on the back right port. Suboptimal for Tesla superchargers currently within its V2, V3 configuration. The cable's just not long enough. Once I get my Seal, or if I do get my Seal, I will show you guys how to do it. You've just got to find a spot on the end of a supercharger. That way you're not blocking two charge ports or two stalls, because if you park in a normal charger, you're going to have to use the one on the other side, and therefore inactivating that stall. So there'll be a way.
Sure. What about those drive-through bays? In the sense that, some of the newer sites have them, and it would be interesting how the Seal does there. I'm not sure how many of them are open to non-Teslas yet. So there are some sites I can think of. There's one in Melbourne that recently opened, Brighton. It's a smaller site, and I don't think it's open to non-Tesla EVs. But those sort of larger sites with a couple of drive-through bays, I think will be helpful.
That's a good point, Riz. Yes, there's one in Campbelltown. There's one in the Blue Mountains. And the ones that just have a drive-through that's all the way through, that's fine. No problem. You can probably park out a little bit and just block the road a little bit if that's okay. Looks like you're just parking badly, but at least you're not blocking another stall. If it's like a trailer one where you still got to back in, that might be a bit harder. You might have to stick out of the spot a little bit, again, blocking the road. But yeah, I'll find those examples once we get the Seal to test drive. Gaffer says, time to get NRMA back on to tell us how the rollout is going. Hey, there's always an open invite, so that's a good question there, Gaffer. Get one of the NRMA reps to come on and tell us what's happening. I checked on the app recently. There's only still the 3 chargers in New South Wales that are open at the moment for fee-based charging anyway. Excuse me. Okay, so Tassie Thalasan, why haven't the current charge installer bought one of the Tesla chargers to see how they're doing and copy it? Good point. I suppose it's copyright, isn't it, Riz? Can't really copy it too closely.
The current charge install. Well, I'm assuming that's
Tritium, right? Or Chem Power.
Yeah. It's I don't think like what we see out on the outset and versus what Tesla does is very different. So Tom, you've had a chance to, at least, even though it wasn't ready when we did our Sydney to Canberra and the MG4, the Chem Power chargers, they're good in the way they look. They look small. It's sort of like a dispenser, sort of a layout like Tesla has for some of their charger models. But once again, they're so much different. The cables are so heavy. So what Tesla is able to do with their charging system, even with the V4s that are going live in US and Europe and Hong Kong, I think, the technology is so far ahead. And I think that's what a lot of the charging manufacturers will struggle to sort of, copy some of those insights into their products. So yeah, I haven't seen any other product on the market that has cables that are as light as Tesla's, and that just always work.
Yep, correct. The reliability of the Tesla is just insane. Absolutely. And as Scott says, ChargeFox need to pull their finger out at Port Macquarie in New South Wales. It's actually a really good site, Port Macquarie. It's right close to the service station and all the other restaurants and things nearby. But unfortunately, it is always very often broken. Again, it comes down to the reliability of the tritium chargers there. Sad, really.
So what we really need is, either a national standard or a code that charge point operators need to follow in terms of the reliability, in terms of maintenance, cleanliness, all of those things, and how it gets managed. Charge point operators need to be accountable for some of that stuff.
Hmm.
You can't run a network like ChargeFox and say, oh, we're the largest network, but hang on, we don't deal with the charges,
Mm.
because someone has to be accountable for that sort of a thing. Um, so you can't make marketing claims about that without actually fixing them and keeping them maintained.
Yep.
Because even though you may not own the asset, the end user, which is us EV drivers, use it, and we want to ensure that it works. And that's why more and more people will install Tesla apps, even if you drive a non-Tesla, because you at least have, it will work. I'm
Mhm.
actually BYD Atto 3. I'm still trying to get an understanding of whether that problem has been fixed or not,
Mm.
with Atto 3s not being able to charge at the V3 superchargers.
Yeah. So if you have an Atto 3, go check it out for us, please, and let us know
Mm.
in socials. That'd be good. I agree, Riz. I think ChargeFox need to have some accountability. I know they keep pointing fingers at Tritium. Tritium points fingers at the proprietors who own these assets. Someone's going to be accountable for this. It's got to be some sort of maintenance schedule or update schedule or something. Otherwise, it's going to be counterproductive to EV uptake in Australia. If people keep reporting broken charges, long queues, it doesn't help the EV uptake for sure.
Or competition. If we get more competition, so BP
Yes.
Pulse, a lot of their sites, I haven't come across any of the sites that's been broken
Hmm.
yet, and they're generally fairly well maintained because they're part of the petrol station. So they're
Yep.
giving the right training to the attendants at the petrol station to make sure that it's sort of managed and maintained. They're generally pretty clean.
Hmm.
Would like to think more competition will help lift some of this game, because people will stop going to these sites.
Yeah, correct. And same with Apple too. They own the assets, and EVIE at least. They've got some vertical integration where they actually own the assets too. So that I think that's probably a safer model for reliability. I know ChargeFox has a bigger network, but their model is sometimes a bit dubious when they do break down. So, yeah, we'll keep you guys posted anyway of what's happening. Tazzie's asking about Charles to do a live feed. We'll get him on for sure. And Tazzy EV1 saying, he's got a Charles on Charge page. A good name too.
Ooh.
I'll quickly whip through the end of live Toyota Camry chat I can see in the stream there. Scott saying, notice on Toyota's Japan website saying Camry will cease production for its home market in late December 2023.
Hmm.
Model 3 is probably already taking over. There's Model 3s everywhere on our roads now. It's kind of the new Camry, as my colleague said at work. So he's not wrong. They are everywhere. Tazzy Thal saying the Kona has a charge port on the front, so that does help, of course, with superchargers. Ray Palmer, quick question. Do you feel the cancelled EV tax in Victoria will be shifted to the charging infrastructure to be like the fuel excise? I think there'll probably be a federal road user charge, I think, moving forward. We'll talk about that bit more in future. And of course, Gaffer saying the V4 superchargers here with longer cables. We do need that very quickly. Let's see quickly. Next few weeks should also have pricing and specs of the new 2024 Kona. Yep, excellent. I've got confirmation from Hyundai Australia that I will be very close to the top for a press car loan. So stay tuned, everyone. I'll get a review very shortly of that. No extension cables for superchargers. That seems a bit dangerous to me at the moment. Plugging in DC's extension cord. We'll see anyway. And let's see. Yes, Scott's talking about plugging in the rain. Always press the plug against my shirt, walk to the port, and plug in straight away. Keep it dry and you should be fine. I mean, they're all IP66 rated anyway, so insulated against the elements. And comment for you, Riz, carrot and stick. There needs to be incentives that make it worth their while to keep up with the maintenance. Yep, true. But also needs to be penalties when they stuff up. Yep.
I think with more competition, Gaffer, it's going to be quite, the stick would be that people will stop using it, which means the hosts won't be happy. Then it's just the way it's going to work. And with companies like, bring BP up again, when they're trying to offer variable prices on their charges and encouraging people to charge at different times, and some networks also thinking about bringing in idle fees and other things. As long as they listen to the EV drivers, those sites that are like Goulburn, or in this case Ballarat and others that aren't maintained, people stop going to them.
Yeah, correct. And yeah, Tassie Thalassan's right. Tesla laughing all the way to the bank with their charging stations. You know, uptime, reliability, all that. Yeah, Tesla Supercharger network. That's why they're number one for sure. NBN has 12-hour deadline to fix faults. Okay, maybe we need to implement something like that, a national sort of accountability scheme. Everyone, we're coming up to, well, we have actually passed an hour. There's so much to talk about, but I just want to quickly whip through some more stories from the rest of the stream. Let's put this one up real quick. So in North America, the companies or the OEMs that have signed on to the NACS, or North American Charging Standard, there you go. There's a few of them now, almost losing track. And of course, no surprises, Toyota Group is not there yet. BMW is
They've
not there.
just
Stellantis.
recently changed so that BMW Rolls-Royce is now part of it, and
Good.
so is Toyota. I'm not sure about their sub-brands like Lexus, Suzuki, and others. That's a big thing for Toyota to say for their future EVs from 2025 onwards. They will have adopted the NACS plug. But I guess we're yet to see what those EVs look like.
That's right. I just quickly, I actually sat in a Lexus RZ450e in the States when I was there recently. I ordered an Uber Green, and yeah, there you go. Not too bad, honestly. The guy who was driving it was pretty happy with it. So yeah, yet to drive one here in Australia, of course. But there you go. That's a little snapshot of slightly out of date list of North American Charging Standard OEMs at the moment. And just quickly as well, a Kia EV9 was spotted in Castle Hill in Sydney's northwest. I've reached out to Kia this week. No comment just yet, so hopefully a launch date soon for the Kia EV9. Pretty boxy looking thing, but 7-seater. That's a good compromise for a roomy vehicle. And this one also, DHL supply chain launches its first Australian EV truck. So that's pretty cool to see. 5.5 ton payload. It's a Volvo FL, 600 volt motor, 4 66 kilowatt hour Gen 2 battery packs. So hopefully we'll see more of these to complement the electric buses, Riz. Nice and quiet on our streets moving forward. Very nice. And to finish off, Riz, I know you like your small cars, so this is something you want to talk about. This is the Ludo's amazing EV ecosystem.
Yeah, so we were talking about large cars like Cybertrucks and other things, but here's sort of, I think this video covers a few micro cars that exist in China. I mean, just looking at them, I know they're small and tiny, but we need that as a solution for some of the inner city go-gets of the world to adopt, just as we want IKEA and Bunnings to have a fleet of Cybertrucks that we can rent to get our goods delivered in. So yeah, it seems to be that China has a few microcars, as you'll just walk past, that we just don't have at the moment in Australia. Maybe the design rules, safety conditions, whatever they are, but there needs to be a place for these vehicles as well. Easy to park, easy to get around, for rentals in inner city areas. This makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's right. Particularly with more people living in the densely populated areas of inner Sydney, inner Melbourne, inner Brisbane. So yeah, cool. All right, we might wrap up there very shortly. Thanks, Riz, for that share of that video. But comments on H2 Rider saying Woolworths have EV trucks in Sydney. That's true. I've spotted them as well. And just a quick comment about WLTP. I think WLTP is more accurate on urban roads. When you hit the highway going at 100, 110, I think you can easily minus 20% of a stated range. For example, the Polestar 2 I drove from Sydney to Melbourne, I was getting more like 400 to 450 driving at 110 kilometers an hour. Definitely a huge drop from the 600 plus kilometer range they advertise on their website. So I'd say probably at least 20%, 25% drop on the highway. I think most people have experienced that too. So thanks, Scott, for the EV9 there. I'll just share this. Well, I shared that earlier. That's the registration there. EV9 station wagon in white 2023, recently registered in New South Wales. Thank you. And there we go. Yes, we do need more small EV hatches. Big market out there for sure. Riz, thank you very much again for your time, as always, on a Saturday morning. So good to have you and your insights.
Always great to be on, Tom. And I think that everyone that contributes to our Wednesday and Saturday streams. It's amazing because, without you guys and girls, there's no community that we have. So doing everything that we do, and we continue to spread the good word around the vehicles that are coming up and all the fun things that are happening globally and here in Australia. At least we have something to be optimistic about moving forward.
Yeah, that's right. We love chatting EVs. That's why we do 2 shows, and we always run out of time because there's just so much to chat about. And as Riz said, without you guys and girls in the chat, there's no show. Like, honestly, the live streams are what they are because of the engagement you put in the live chat. So thank you for joining us on a Saturday morning. So good to have you. If you're watching replay, leave a comment as well. I read every single comment, and thank you so much for listening to us on audio podcasts. And as Riz said, we'll see you on Wednesday night with Rahul as always, and we'll try and get Charles as well on a future live stream to chat about his drive from Sydney to Perth in his Tesla Model 3. Thanks, everyone, and until the next Ludicrous Feed live, happy charging. Thank you, Riz. See you around. Bye, everyone.